I never thought something as simple as parking my car would turn into the worst nightmare of my life. One morning, I walked outside and my car was gone. At first, my heart sank. I thought, oh God, someone stole it. I looked up and down the street, checked with neighbors, even called the police. But then I saw it, a bright orange slip taped to my door. It said, "Your vehicle has been towed by order of the HOA. Fine, $100. I just stood there, frozen. My own HOA had taken my car. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't just about parking. This was about control. I live in what you'd call a planned community, the kind where houses look neat, the lawns are trimmed the same way, and the HOA sends friendly newsletters. At first, it didn't seem so bad. They fixed the streetlights, they kept the pool clean, and honestly, it felt organized. But then came this new rule. Only one car per household could park on the street. Extra cars had to go in the driveway or garage. Now, I've got two cars. One's for work, the other's for family. I wasn't blocking anyone. I wasn't causing trouble. I just parked it in front of my house like I had for years. And yet, that single decision dragged me into weeks of stress, arguments, and fights with people I thought were my friends. The morning I found that orange slip, I felt embarrassed. Imagine your neighbors walking by, whispering, "Oh, he broke the rules." I crumpled the notice in my hand, but inside, I was boiling. That night, my neighbor Sarah knocked on my door. She was upset. She said they fined me too. My parents came over for dinner, parked outside for 2 hours, and I got a $75 ticket. That's when I realized this wasn't a mistake. The HOA wasn't targeting me. They were cracking down on everyone. I remember asking Sarah, "Are we really criminals just for parking in front of our own homes?" And she said something that stuck with me. "If we don't push back now, what's next? They'll tell us when we can open our blinds or what color curtains we can hang." I walked into the next HOA board meeting, determined to speak up. I stood there and said, "Show me the rule. Show me when it changed." The president of the board leaned back in his chair, smirked, and said, "We mailed notices. It's in the handbook." But I never saw any notice. None of my neighbors did. It felt like a power game, like they thought we'd just bow our heads and pay up. And here's the part that really made my blood boil. Some families only got warnings, while others, like me and Sarah, got immediate fines. No second chances, no explanations, just punishment. That night, I went home and started digging. I collected every letter, every email, every scrap of paper from the HOA. I knocked on doors, asked neighbors if they got notices. Most of them said no. I even requested official records from the board. Do you know what they gave me? A blank copy of the handbook. No updated rules, no signatures, no dates. That's when I realized they had nothing. So I called for a community meeting. I thought maybe 10 people would show up. But when I got there, the room was packed. People were furious. One family said their teenage son's car was towed while he was studying for finals. Another said the new parking lines made it impossible to pull out safely. A mother with 3 kids cried as she explained how her guests stopped visiting because they were afraid of getting tickets. It wasn't just about money anymore. It was about dignity, about living in fear in your own home. The tension was so thick you could feel it. Neighbors started shouting, some yelled at the board, others at each other. I'll admit, I lost my temper too. I slammed the violation notice on the table and said, "This is harassment. This is not how you treat the people who pay to live here." There was a silence after that. And then, one by one, people started agreeing. For the first time, we weren't isolated. We weren't just individuals scared of fines. We were a community, standing together. And you know what? That scared the board more than anything else. Eventually, we pushed hard enough that they had to agree to mediation. With a mediator in the room, their tone changed completely. Suddenly, they weren't so confident. Suddenly, they admitted mistakes. They introduced a guest permit system. They gave homeowners a 30-day grace period before issuing fines, and they agreed to repaint the lines that were causing safety issues. Was it perfect? No. But it was a win. And I learned something important. HOAs aren't all powerful. When people stand together, they have to listen. So here's my takeaway from this nightmare. Don't let embarrassment silence you. Keep records, every notice, every message. Talk to your neighbors because you're stronger together. And remember, even the HOA has limits. I never thought parking a car would turn into a battle for respect, but that's exactly what happened. And now I want to ask you, if your HOA towed your car from your own street, would you pay the fine quietly? Or would you fight back like I did? Let me know in the comments. And if you've lived through something like this, share your story. Maybe your nightmare will be the next one I tell. Thanks for listening to my nightmare. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because trust me, there are plenty more HOA horror stories out there.